I have these markers, all of them. I have 10 markers. Like when I look at it, it's like that. They have 5 of them are black ones. I have 2 greens, 2 blue, and 1 red. So with these markers that I have, some of them, they have cap on it. Some of them, they don't have cap. Oh, okay. So now, let's say I want to know that if I ask you, what's the probability? Let me have it. I'm going to have the black ones next to each other when I'm showing you. Okay. And then the green ones, blue and red. Okay, it's like this. If I ask you, and you can see that here I have 5 and 5. Okay, like this. If I ask you, what's the probability of having black marker among this one? What would you say? Just think for a moment. So the question is that probability of having the black marker. When I don't say condition, it means that the condition is in the whole sample space. It's like that, the probability of having the black marker given that in the sample space, in the whole sample space. You would say 5 of them are black. Among 10, it's going to be 50%. So the probability of the black markers among the whole sample space is going to be 50%, right? Okay. So what about if I ask you, what's the probability of the blue ones in the sample space, in the whole sample space? Like the condition is the whole sample space. So again, you would say, okay, so I have like 2 out of 10 is going to be 20%. So this is what we have learned so far, right? So now I'm going to ask you, what's the probability of having black markers given that they don't have a cap? So what would you say in that case? So the question is that what's the probability of the black markers among or given that markers without cap? What would you say? So the first thing that we would need to do is that we would need to just consider the markers that they don't have a cap. So look at it from like this side. The first, second, third one, they don't have a cap. And then I have like these, this, they have a cap. So I'm going to remove them. Just leave them on the table. And then this one doesn't have a cap. And then this one, which has it. So I'm going to put it down. So my new sample space is going to be this. So it's like that. And this one is green. The rest is black. I'm not sure how clear it is when you put it next to each other. So let's say it's like the, this is the green one. And the rest are black. So I'm asking you, what's the probability of having the black markers among the markers that they don't have a cap? So what would you say here? It's going to be like 3 out of 4 or 75%. So when I was looking at this, the whole, and I asked you, what's the probability of having black markers? You said that 50%, because we had 5 black markers out of 10 different colors of markers. But when I ask you what's the probability of the black markers, given that markers without the cap, so what your new condition, which is like your new sample space, is like an event of having like no cap on the markers. This is your event, right? This event is going to be like your new sample space. Let me just fix this a little. And then you would say, okay, so this is the among the black markers. I'm looking for the black markers among the condition, which is like the markers without the cap. So in that case, it's going to be 75%. Let's have another example. This is my whole sample space, right? I'm looking for the blue markers among the markers that they have a cap on top of it. So it's like I'm looking for the blue markers, given that markers that they have a cap. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the ones that they don't have cap. And then my sample space is going to be this one, these 6 markers. So now I would say, okay, I'm looking for the probability of blue ones. So it's going to be 2 out of 6. That's going to be the probability of the blue markers among or given that. So when we read it, it's like blue markers given that markers that they have cap, right? So it's going to be 2 out of 6. What about, and this is the last example before going back to the slides. What about if I'm looking for the probability of the blue markers among the ones that they don't have a cap? I want you to think about it for like a minute. Write down your answer and then come back and listen to the rest of this video, because that's a good question. So the question is that what will be the probability of blue markers given that markers, they don't have a cap? What would you calculate that one? Okay, so here is the answer. The first is that we want to look at the markers without the cap, right? So these are the markers without the cap. So what's the probability of having blue markers among them? Do you see any blue markers? So it's no, right? So the probability of having the blue markers among this, it's 0. Even you have the blue markers when you look at the whole your whole sample space. But when we are looking at the conditional probability here, our condition is our new space that we are looking for the chance of the like data that we are looking for. So it's going to be like, for example, the probability of having the blue markers among the given that the markers they don't have a cap, so it's going to be 0 because I don't see any blue ones here, right? So now I'm just going to return the caps. Okay, so this one is here. So this is the definition, the concept of the conditional probability. The main objective of this chapter is that to understand the concept of we have different objectives, but this is the main one, the concept behind the conditional probability. Because when you are working outside the university, if you don't know the concept behind it, like really knowing that what's going on with the concept, equations are always available for us. You're just going to Google it, like Bayes theorem, it's going to come up. But if you don't know the concept, you don't know how to use it. So it's really important that you would know the concept. If still you think that you need a little more clarification or examples, I can give you thousands of examples on this one. So please email me, send me your question about this. Then we can set up individual meetings together, and we can work on different examples, like for an hour, or even I can mention during the summary time for like 5-10 minutes, because that summary on Wednesday we are going to cover everything, and it's just 1 hour.